from the start of the season, Mount Sentinel has been ranked as the #1 team in BC. They won the UBC tournament, a big 40-team tournament, very early in the season, and from then on they have been ranked #1. But just because they're ranked #1 doesn't mean they're going to win it.
We're having the introductions for the Wildcats of Mount Sentinel, and you can see the crowd is definitely with them, Mika.
For such a tiny little school, let's be honest, in the middle of nowhere, we're known provincially as sort of a volleyball program, a strong volleyball program. Mount Sentinel has had great success, so it kind of puts us on the map, so to speak.
To be competitive nationally for such a small area was really a tremendous accomplishment for the kids. Compete against much larger schools. They're stronger than us physically, they're taller than us physically, and the only way we can compete is to work harder and simply have our skills at a higher level than theirs so we can stay even with them.
In order to be good teammates and in order to be successful, I think you develop a type of friendship where you learn to trust each other, and in many ways you become a family away from your family, a school family if you like. It's been together for so much time during the course of our season that brings us close together.
It's a good community. Everyone is such a big family, but we just have such a good reputation, and Joe is to go for that, like his time and effort into volleyball, and it shows when the team plays.
We were always the underdog. It was so much fun to beat bigger teams or compete against these teams that everyone would expect for you to lose to, and everyone loves an underdog. That's just kind of like a classic tale. So I think that was one thing that really stood out, because we always came out, we were like the shortest team and just the smallest. We usually only had 9 players on our team, and typically for volleyball you have 12 to 15. It felt like you were kind of a nobody, but when you're the underdog, you can only go up.
I feel like they look at us and don't think we can compete, but we always do, so. Because if you go into the game thinking you're going to lose, you're probably not going to win the game.
Going into lots of the bigger competitions, most of the other teams kind of see us and they're like, oh, it's a bunch of grade 10s, this will be easy, and then we beat them.
And the coach of the Mount Sentinel Wildcats, the very popular coach, obviously, of the Mount Sentinel Wildcats, Dave Olynyk. I was talking to Dave Olynyk a while ago, about a week before the championship, and I said, Dave, you guys are favored, you're playing at home, you're going to have the crowd there, and everybody is going to be expecting you to win. How about the pressure? And he said, we've been there before, we've been there quite often, and he thinks the kids will handle it. So far they have handled it. So there's the team that the hopes of the West Kootenay are riding on, the Mount Sentinel Wildcats.
They had a volleyball team when I started teaching. I was 30 when I got here, and that would be 1980. Never played volleyball. I'm still a terrible volleyball player, but I played lots of sports, and the basic ideas are transferable between sports. I believe when I started, volleyball was treated as just something to do in the basketball season. Interest picked up, and we were very fortunate after 5 years. With the same group, we won the provincials, and after that, it never looked back. Then there was a very strong interest in volleyball, and has been ever since.
I mean, the interesting thing, I suppose, for people looking to get into coaching, often it's like, oh, tell us about your own history with volleyball. And I have a very short history with volleyball myself. I believe I played in grade 7, but of course, when you're in grade 7, you don't remember a lot of anything. And when I interviewed for Mount Sentinel, back in those days, they could ask you about what would you like to coach. Hockey was becoming my sport of choice, and I was excelling at hockey. And so I kind of jokingly said, I knew it was a very small school, kind of out in the rural area, but I said, well, if you guys have a hockey team, I'll coach hockey, because that's my sport. And they said, no, we don't have a hockey team. So I said, well, if you let me flood the gym and freeze it in the winter, I can start you one. Actually, yeah, we would prefer if, you chose one of our sports that we currently have going, and how about boys volleyball? Wow, I have very limited experience with volleyball, but I said, you know what, sure, why not? If that's what you need, I suppose I could sort of, kind of relearn the sport. And in essence, that's what I did. I think in terms of an expectation, some excellence and some success, it had already been built on the foundation of others before I had arrived. I just felt like, whoa, I want to maintain that, and I want to help to keep that going.
Well, let me start here. So in 1976, I came to Mount Sentinel. I was hired with the expectation, because I volunteered to do this, with the expectation of coaching senior boys basketball, and I did for a period of time. It just so happened that in my second year, our then senior girls volleyball coach was about to start a family, and she asked me if I would consider coaching the senior girls volleyball team. I really didn't want to. I was trying to find a way to kind of snivel out of it, but she was quite persuasive, and so I very reluctantly said, okay, Emmalou, I will coach the team. So I went into the gym, and there were a bunch of girls there that wanted to be part of our senior girls volleyball team experience. And I found out that all of the stuff that I really enjoyed when I was coaching boys basketball, I was seeing the same experiences with girls volleyball. But here I'm thinking that all my biases with respect to girls and athletics were really untrue. Girls, in my world, when I was in high school, it was like boys played sports, girls were great cheerleaders. When I came to Mount Sentinel, girls basically said, you've got it all wrong. You know, we can be passionate about sports, we can be committed, and we can work really, really hard to be the best that we can be. For all intents and purposes, embark on a journey that may get us to a good place where we can compete with some of the best teams in the province. So, a journey and a process.
And we are set to get this 1987-88 championship game underway.
Mount Sentinel just overall is a really strong team. If you try and shut down one area of their offense, they seem to be able to come back with something else. In our last match against them, we tried to shut down the middle against them, and it worked effectively. They just had two guys on the outside pounding the ball away on us. They just have so many weapons that it's impossible to shut them down for a whole match.
I spend a lot of time at school. I have the good fortune of having a family, specifically my wife, who's very comfortable not having me around the house. She's independently minded, and to a large extent so am I. So this has been a good fit for me to spend as much time as I do at school.
I give up a lot of my time in order to do this. Because it is an added commitment, it is added work, and it is volunteerism. I think as coaches, we always fight that feeling of, am I sacrificing time with my own family for other people's kids beyond my job? And I definitely am. And so I have to definitely thank my own family, because they have kind of allowed me to do this. I do this willingly and passionately because I love it. And I love the experiences that we have together. But it's one of those sacrifices, I think, that my family has allowed me to do, because they know how much it means to me and how much I believe in it. I did take the last team up to senior when there was no one doing junior or grade 7, 8, and I actually thought that would have been the end of the line for boys volleyball. And this group of boys came to me and asked if I would coach them. I said, if you're willing to do the hard work without complaint, I'll do it. But we're committing for 4 years. And they said, absolutely. And to their credit, and their parents' credit, they've been 100% on board. We had no success. We had 0 medals. We played an entire grade 9 season, what I call the right way, which was learning to do the skills the right way, even if it meant we couldn't win games. It's often about winning, but they also understood it was more than about winning. And not one player quit, which is pretty amazing. It's a great feeling when you see just a group so willing to, I guess, commit and trust in that process. It's been a real pleasure and a treat to do. And if that was my message to any future coach, I want them to know that's pretty powerful.
Like we mentioned, they haven't been playing that great, but they haven't had to. They're playing probably an average game, but they're still smoking them. 15-7, 15-4. They're up 14-6 here. KLO just hasn't been able to get anything going, and part of the reason is because of the strength of the Mount Sentinel team. Mount Sentinel just doesn't let you do anything.
At the end of the day, we all were just here to play the sport that we love.
I made lots of friends. Our volleyball team's super close.
Yeah, we're kind of like a family in a way, because we're always together and we're always hanging out. We're just really close.
Yeah, I loved so much of it. It became such a big part of my life. There was after school practices, the morning practices. Every weekend we were gone for volleyball. It gave you that like team building thing, and like really my life wouldn't be what it is now if it wasn't for that. It's our identity. You go to other schools in the area and they really know Mount Sentinel for its volleyball. You walk into the gym and like the first thing you kind of see is those big banners on the wall, and they're all volleyball, 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 one basketball, and then volleyball again. And it's like, okay, I guess we have a favorite. It's like our legacy. We had Joe, so that was awesome. Literally, we would go to tournaments, or we'd go to like training camps or something, or when we went to club tournaments, people would see Joe and they'd be like, oh my gosh, you are so lucky that Joe is your coach, like he's amazing. Everyone knew him.
We think Joe is our dad, kind of, because or grandpa, let's say grandpa, because he's so old.
Our relationship with Joe is really jokey, just kind of like he's one of us. We all have a good time with him. Even our parents had Joe as a coach as well. So it's kind of just cool to be involved in something that our parents have been involved in.
And we can share with them, kind of.
So we can kind of relate, and when they're driving, they're like, yeah, we know Joe would do the same thing for us.
Yeah.
And it's really cool.
My inspiration really is coming from the girls. I like to think I inspire them to push on, to be the best that they can be, and because they certainly inspire me to push along with them so that we as a total unit can be the best that we can be. So we meet in the middle.
There is a high expectation of success. And if you don't have it right away, often people just in life, they want to quit too easy. They don't get that actually learning how to play through those feelings and how to deal with that kind of level of stress and failure is actually our greatest teachings. And it's some of the most powerful things to learn to work through, and that you can work through it. Sometimes it requires a little bit of faith in the person who's trying to lead them.
Winslow with a set. Henley crushes it down. A timeout did something as Pat Henley took that back set and ranked it into the ground. 14-6, game point, match point. That's it. That's it. Almost. That's it. And he goes under the net. That's it. 15-6, the Mount Sentinel Wildcats.
Just over behind the scorer's bench here, and there's a blue banner over there. It says BC School Sports Provincial Champs.
All I can say is there's going to be another blue banner up next year, guaranteed.